here's the thing nobody wants to admit. The WNBA MVP conversation just got turned completely upside down, and it's all because of injuries that are reshaping everything we thought we knew about this season. While everyone's been fixated on the usual suspects, Kelsey Mitchell has been quietly building what might be the most unconventional, yet compelling MVP case in recent memory. But here's where it gets controversial. Should a player from a middle-of-the-pack team even be in the conversation when traditional MVP wisdom says otherwise? The Indiana Fever have been absolutely decimated by injuries, and somehow they're still standing. Caitlin Clark's groin injury that forced her out of that July showdown at TD Garden? She remained on the sidelines for weeks afterward. The domino effect continued when Aari McDonald, who was brought in on a hardship deal specifically because of Clark's absence, suffered a broken bone in her right foot earlier this month, effectively ending her campaign. Sydney Colson's season came to an abrupt halt after tearing her ACL in the same contest. Most recently, Sophie Cunningham had to be assisted off the court following a right knee injury during Sunday's game. Yet somehow, and this is where Mitchell's story becomes truly remarkable, the Fever maintained the league's sixth-best record. They demonstrated this resilience in stunning fashion when they erased a massive 21-point deficit to steal a 99-93 victory in Connecticut. Mitchell was absolutely electric, dropping 38 points with an incredible 34 coming after halftime. This marked her second 30-point explosion this month, and her fourth of the entire season. Make no mistake, the Fever are clinging to relevance by the thinnest of margins, and Mitchell is single-handedly keeping them from falling into the abyss. I honestly can't find the right words to describe it. Forward Aaliyah Boston expressed. When you witness Kelsey's performances and understand her value to our entire squad, especially watching her explode in that second half the way she did, I believe it essentially makes her MVP argument for her. She steps up defensively, puts points on the board, logs 40 minutes every single game, and still manages to produce these remarkable statistics consistently. Honestly, if she doesn't win MVP, I don't know what more she could possibly do. Just 2 weeks ago, any MVP discussion would have been over before it started. Napheesa Collier had established herself as the undisputed best player in the league, serving as the cornerstone for the top team on both ends of the court. However, a right ankle injury has kept her out of action for the past 2 weeks, with no clear timeline for return beyond a vague "before the season ends" statement. Collier has now missed 4 games during this stretch and 7 total for the season, which raises a fascinating question that the league has rarely had to confront. Exactly how many games can a player miss and still be considered the league's most valuable player? This absence has essentially blown the MVP race wide open. Several familiar faces have emerged as alternative options. 3-time MVP A'ja Wilson has, quite ironically, gone on an absolute tear while Collier has been watching from the sidelines, helping propel her aces back into the upper echelon of league standings. Alyssa Thomas, who finished as the runner-up in 2023, has been a dominant force throughout the entire season, coming tantalizingly close to averaging a triple-double with 16.2 points, 8.6 rebounds, and 9.1 assists per game. Alicia Gray is enjoying the finest season of her professional career, putting up 18.6 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 3.8 assists while leading the Dream to second place in the standings. Mitchell may not fit the traditional MVP candidate profile, but her case deserves serious consideration. While the league doesn't establish specific MVP criteria, historical winners typically share certain characteristics. First and foremost, they rarely miss significant time. When Jonquil Jones captured the award in 2021, she sat out 5 games, the most any MVP has ever missed during their winning season. Additionally, MVPs traditionally come from elite teams. 12 of the 28 MVP winners played for the team with the league's best regular season record, while 8 more came from the second-best squad. Lauren Jackson provided a notable exception in 2007, earning the honor despite her Storm team finishing 17-17. However, Jackson averaged impressive numbers with 23.7 points and 9.7 rebounds. Plus, she already had MVP experience from 2003. Scoring production varies considerably among MVP winners. Wilson's 2024 campaign was absolutely undeniable, as she averaged 26.9 points while grabbing 11.9 rebounds per game. Conversely, Tamika Catchings claimed the trophy in 2011 while averaging just 15.5 points for a first-place Fever squad. The majority of WNBA MVPs have averaged between 17 and 24 points per contest. Mitchell has methodically constructed an MVP-worthy resume this season without much fanfare. She's averaging a team-leading 20.4 points per game, which places her third league-wide in scoring behind only Collier and Wilson. The Fever have desperately needed every single point with Clark sidelined. Their record tells the story. 8-5 when Clark is healthy and available, compared to 11-11 in her absence. Should Clark return before season's end, she'll be rejoining a team still very much alive in the playoff hunt. Thanks largely to Mitchell's heroics. Both Mitchell and Collier would represent MVP outliers. Ironically, both due to missed games, though for completely different reasons. Is Mitchell facing long odds? Probably. Does she merit serious consideration? Absolutely. Has the possibility even crossed her mind? Honestly, I haven't even thought about that, she admitted. And this is the part most people miss. Sometimes the most valuable player isn't the one with the flashiest stats or the best team record. It's the player who single-handedly keeps their team from complete collapse when everything goes wrong. Who's currently dominator? Jewel Lloyd from the Las Vegas Aces has an interesting story unfolding. After starting 213 consecutive games stretching back to 2019, she transitioned to a bench role last month. 10 games into this new responsibility, she's finally finding her rhythm, averaging 14.6 points with impressive shooting splits of 45.7% from the field, 43.8% from three-point range, and 81.8% from the free throw line. Veronica Burton of the Golden State Valkyries nearly made WNBA history last week, while Sabrina Ionescu holds the distinction of recording the only 30-point triple-double in league history. Burton came tantalizingly close to matching that feat in a victory over Washington. She posted 30 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists, while shooting an efficient 10 for 13 from the field, including an outstanding 6 for 9 from beyond the arc. Upcoming must-watch matchups: Phoenix Mercury at Las Vegas Aces, Thursday at 10 p.m. The Aces have been red hot, winning 9 of their last 12 games and currently riding a 7-game winning streak. The Mercury, however, have struggled mightily against top-tier competition. Of their 14 losses this season, 9 have come at the hands of the Lynx, Liberty, and Dream. New York Liberty at Atlanta Dream, Saturday at 2 p.m. The Dream have dropped 2 of their first 3 encounters with the Liberty, and what made both losses particularly painful were the substantial leads they surrendered. In June, they watched a 17-point third-quarter advantage evaporate. July brought even more heartbreak when they allowed a 19-point second-quarter lead to completely unravel. However, For a team that has maintained its position near the league summit all season long, the Dream believe they possess the capability to compete with the defending champions. But here's what I want to know from you. Are we being too rigid in our MVP thinking? Should team success matter more than individual impact when a player is literally carrying their injured squad? And most controversially, if Mitchell continues this pace while other candidates deal with their own challenges, shouldn't we be talking about her as a legitimate frontrunner rather than just an interesting storyline? Drop your thoughts below. I'm curious whether you think the MVP award should reward excellence in ideal circumstances or greatness despite impossible odds.